I walked away from everything, and I'm not coming back this time. The words left Kang Min-jae's mouth quietly, but they carried weight. The boardroom went silent. Every executive stared at him like they had just heard something impossible. His assistant stepped forward slightly. "Sir, think about this carefully." "I already have," Min-jae replied. His voice didn't shake, didn't hesitate. "I'm stepping down." A sharp breath echoed across the room. "You can't do that," one board member snapped. This company will survive," Min-jae cut in calmly. "With or without me. But your reputation." "My reputation is already gone." Silence. Heavy. Uncomfortable. "True." Min-jae picked up his jacket slowly. "I built this life once," he added. "I can build something else again." Then he turned and walked out. Just like that. If you're watching this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay till the end, because this is where the real story begins. Outside, the air felt different. Lighter. But colder too. For the first time in years, Min-jae had nothing. No position. No power. No control. Just one thing left. A decision. And that decision had a name. Amara. Across the city, Amara stood in front of a mirror. But this time, she wasn't looking at her reflection. She was thinking. Still replaying everything. The wedding. The truth. The betrayal. And the way he had looked at her at the end. "I was wrong." His words echoed in her mind. She shook her head slightly. "No," she whispered to herself. "Not again." She had already made her choice. She had walked away. And this time, she meant it. A knock on her door pulled her back. She frowned slightly. She wasn't expecting anyone. Another knock. Firm. Patient. Amara walked toward the door slowly. Something in her chest tightened. Because somehow, she already knew. She opened it. And there he was. Min-jae. Standing there. No suit. No security. No power. Just him. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then finally, "You shouldn't be here," Amara said. "I know," he replied. Silence. "But I am." She crossed her arms slightly. "That doesn't change anything." "No," he said softly. "It doesn't." Another pause. Then, "I left everything," he added. Her expression didn't change. "I didn't ask you to." "I know." "Then why are you here?" This time, he didn't answer immediately. Because this time, he didn't want to say the wrong thing. Finally, "Because I don't want to lose you again." Her eyes flickered slightly, but her voice stayed steady. "You already did." That hit hard. "I deserve that," he said quietly. Amara didn't respond, because she knew he did. "But I'm not here to ask you to take me back," he continued. That surprised her. Slightly. "Then what are you here for?" "To start over." She let out a small breath. "You think it's that simple?" "No," he said immediately. "I think it's going to be the hardest thing I've ever done." Silence. Then, "Good," she said. His eyes lifted slightly. "Because I'm not making it easy for you." For the first time, a faint, almost invisible smile touched his lips. "I wouldn't expect you to." If you're still watching, comment redemption arc if you think he deserves another chance. Days passed. But this time, Min-jae didn't disappear. He didn't call endlessly. Didn't pressure her. Didn't try to control anything. He showed up. Quietly. Consistently. At the clinic. At first, Amara ignored him. Completely. "You don't need to be here," she said one morning. "I know," he replied. "Then leave." "I will, after my shift." She frowned. "You don't work here." "I do now." She blinked. "What?" He gestured toward the supplies he was carrying. "I volunteered." Amara stared at him. "You're a billionaire." "Not anymore." Silence. "You're serious?" she asked. "Yes." "Why?" "Because you are." That answer, she didn't expect. The staff watched. Of course they did. Whispers started again. But this time, they weren't about judgment. They were about confusion. Is that really him? Why is he here? What is he doing? Min-jae ignored all of it. He focused on one thing. Learning. Helping. Being present. And slowly, something began to shift. One evening, Amara stayed late. Paperwork. Patience. Endless tasks. When she finally stepped outside, she saw him, sitting on a bench, waiting. Again. You don't have to wait for me, she said. I know, he replied. But I want to. Silence. Then. Why? She asked. He looked at her. Because now. He had an answer. Because this is the only place I feel like I'm doing something right. That hit differently. Amara sat beside him. Not close. But not far either. You gave up everything, she said. Yes. For this. For you. She shook her head slightly. That's not enough. I know, he said. Then what is? He looked ahead. Thinking. Then. Time. Silence. But this time. It felt softer. Days turned into weeks. Weeks into something else. And slowly. Amara started to see it. Not the billionaire. Not the power. But the man. The one who stayed late to clean. The one who learned how to carry patience properly. The one who listened. Who didn't interrupt. Who didn't assume. But just when things started to feel different, the past returned. Hard. One morning, a black car stopped outside the clinic. Expensive. Out of place. Unwelcome. Amara noticed immediately. Her expression changed. Because she recognized it. The door opened. And someone stepped out. Sujin. Her presence alone changed the air. Minjae saw her too. His expression darkened instantly. What are you doing here? He asked. Sujin smiled slightly. I came to talk. No. I wasn't asking. Amara stepped forward. Calm. But alert. You shouldn't be here. Sujin looked at her. Up and down. Slowly. Still playing the same role, she said softly. Amara didn't react. But Minjae did. Say what you came to say and leave. Sujin's smile faded slightly. All right, she said. Then her eyes locked onto Amara. This isn't over. Silence. You think exposing me ended everything? Sujin continued. It didn't. Amara felt something cold settle in her chest. Because now, Sujin added quietly. I have nothing left to lose. And that was the real beginning of the storm. If you think Sujin is about to cause serious trouble, like this video, subscribe, because the revenge is just getting started. I don't love you anymore, the billionaire said, his voice steady, his eyes colder than she had ever seen. The words didn't echo. They didn't need to. They landed exactly where they were meant to, inside her chest, sharp and final. She didn't cry. Not yet. Amara stood there, fingers slowly tightening around the edge of the table, her nails pressing into the polished wood as if she could anchor herself to something real. You're lying, she said quietly. I don't lie about things like this, he replied. His tone was calm. Too calm. That was what broke something inside her. Because this wasn't anger. This wasn't a fight. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was a decision. A final one. You built a whole life with me, she said, her voice shaking now. You fought for me. You said. I said a lot of things, he cut in, his gaze unwavering. People change. Silence filled the room again. Heavy. Suffocating. Amara let out a slow breath, forcing herself to stand straighter. She wouldn't beg. Not again. Not after everything she had already sacrificed. Look at me and tell me the truth, she said. I am. No, she stepped closer, her eyes locking onto his. Not this version. The real one. The one you hide when you think no one is watching. For a brief second, just a second, something flickered in his eyes. Regret. Pain. But it vanished just as quickly. You should leave, he said. And, just like that, it was over. If you're already feeling this tension, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment telling me whose side you're on, Amara or the billionaire. Because this story is about to get even more intense. Amara didn't pack much. She didn't need to. Everything she thought mattered was already gone. As she walked out of the mansion, the cold night air hit her face, and for the first time, the tears came. But they didn't fall for long. Because something else replaced them. Anger. Pure, burning anger. This isn't over, she whispered to herself. And somewhere, deep inside, she meant it. The next morning, the headlines exploded. Billionaire CEO ends marriage abruptly. Sources say divorce was planned. Mystery woman linked to separation. Amara stared at the screen, her fingers tightening around her phone. Of course, she muttered. They were already rewriting the story, making her look like the weak one, the discarded wife, the woman who wasn't enough. She let out a bitter laugh. They really think I'm just going to disappear. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She hesitated for a second before answering. Hello. You shouldn't have left so easily. Her heart skipped. She knew that voice. I didn't leave easily, she said, her tone hardening. You told me to go. And you listened, he replied. There was something off about his voice now. Something she couldn't quite place. You wanted me gone, she said. I needed you safe. That made her freeze. What? Silence. Then he exhaled. You think I ended this because I stopped loving you, he asked quietly. Amara's grip on the phone tightened. Then why? She demanded. Because staying with me would destroy you. Her chest tightened. That's not your decision to make. I already made it. The line went dead. Amara stared at her phone, her mind racing. Safe? Destroy her? What game are you playing? She whispered. But deep down, she knew something wasn't right. And she wasn't going to sit back and wait for answers. She was going to find them. 2 days later, she stood in front of the one place she swore she would never return to. His company headquarters. The glass building towered above her, reflecting the city lights, cold and untouchable, just like him. Let's see how far you're willing to go, she murmured. As she stepped inside, every eye turned to her. Whispers followed instantly. That's her. The ex-wife. She looks different. Amara ignored them. She walked straight to the front desk. I'm here to see him. The receptionist hesitated. I'm sorry, do you have an appointment? Amara smiled faintly. No, she said. But he'll see me. Before the receptionist could respond, a familiar voice cut in. Let her through. Amara turned. And her breath caught. It wasn't him. It was her. The woman from the headlines. Tall. Elegant. Perfect. The kind of woman the media would call an upgrade. I've been expecting you, the woman said, her lips curling into a polite smile. Amara's eyes narrowed. Have you? Yes, she stepped closer. Because women like you don't walk away quietly. Amara let out a soft laugh. And women like you don't show up without a reason. The woman's smile didn't falter. I'm here to help him, she said. With what? Amara shot back. With ending you. That hit harder than it should have. But Amara didn't show it. Instead, she tilted her head slightly. Then you're going to be very disappointed. The tension between them thickened. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Amara stepped past her. Tell him I'm here, she said. He already knows, the woman replied. And right on cue, the elevator doors opened. Amara didn't wait. She walked in. The doors closed. And as the elevator began to rise, her reflection stared back at her. Stronger. Sharper. Different. I'm not the same woman you left, she whispered. When the doors opened, he was already there. Waiting. Of course he was. You shouldn't have come, he said. And you shouldn't have lied, she shot back. They stood there, facing each other, the distance between them filled with everything they weren't saying. Why is she here? Amara asked. She's part of this. Part of what? He hesitated. And that hesitation told her everything. This isn't just about us, is it? She said slowly. No. Then what is it about? He looked at her, really looked at her this time. And for the first time since that night, his mask cracked. It's about survival. Amara frowned. Whose? Yours. Her heart pounded. You keep saying that, she said. But you're not explaining anything. I can't. Or you won't. Both. Frustration surged through her. I'm not a child, she snapped. Stop making decisions for me. And stop putting yourself in danger, he fired back. The room fell silent. They both froze. Because that was the first real emotion he had shown. Fear. Amara took a step closer. What danger? She asked softly. He didn't answer. Instead, he looked away. And that was all she needed. You think pushing me away is going to protect me, she said. It will. No, she shook her head. It won't. It will just make me fight harder. A beat passed. Then another. And then he said something that changed everything. They're watching you. Her breath caught. Who? But before he could answer, the office doors burst open. Security rushed in. Sir, we have a situation. His expression darkened instantly. What happened? They found her. Amara's heart dropped. Found who? No one answered her. Instead, he grabbed his jacket, his movements sharp and urgent. You need to leave, he said to her. I'm not going anywhere. Amara. No, she cut him off. Not this time. You don't get to shut me out again. Their eyes locked. And for a second, it felt like everything else disappeared. Then he made a decision. Fine, he said. But you stay close to me. No arguments. Amara nodded once. Deal. Because whatever was happening, she was done being left in the dark. And as they rushed out together, one thing became painfully clear. This wasn't just a broken marriage anymore. It was a war. And they were right in the middle of it. If you've made it this far, you already know this story is only getting started. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment what you think is really going on because the next part is going to reveal secrets no one saw coming. And trust me, everything you think you know is about to change.